Chicos y chicas, today we're going to be doing a super fast, super easy video, conditional sentences. Conditional sentences are also known as C clauses. And remember, C when it has an accent means yes, but C when it does not have an accent means if. So all of these are going to be if statements. And they're called conditional sentences because the outcome is conditional or dependent on something else. So there's two different types of conditional sentences or C clauses. There's C plus the present tense plus the future tense. And I'm not going to go over how to conjugate the present tense because you should remember that. But for the future tense, just in case, remember that you have the full infinitive plus the future tense endings, which are a with an accent, os with an accent, a with an accent, amos, no accent, on with an accent, asa, emos, on. And then the other form of the conditional sentences are C plus the past subjunctive plus the conditional. So remember, we just did the past subjunctive. You're going to go to the ellos, ellas, ustedes in the preterite, take off the ron, and add ra, ras, ra, Ramos, Ron. And remember, this always has an accent on whatever letter is before the Ramos. So Ra, Ras, Ra, Ramos, Ron. Plus the conditional. And remember, the conditional is the infinitive plus the conditional endings ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ion. And the conditional future have a lot of the same irregulars. Well, they have all the same irregulars. So tender, vendra, pondra, saldra, ker, ar, dear, all those ones. So you got to remember those. And remember, the future tense means will do something. The conditional sense means would do something. So just to practice really quickly, if I meet Channing Tatum, I will hug him. So if is si, and then this is the present tense. So just the regular present tense. Si conozco a Channing Tatum. I will hug him. Him is going to be the direct object pronoun lo. And then will is the future tense. To hug is abrazar. So the future tense for yo, for abrazar, is abrazaré. If I meet Channing Tatum, I will hug him. Versus if I met Channing Tatum, I would hug him. So si, and then I met is going to be the past subjunctive of conocer. So remember, you're going to go to the ellos, ustedes, and the preterite, which is conocieron. Take off the ron and add rab, ras, rab, ramas, ron. So it's going to be conociera a Channing Tatum. Him is going to be low. And then the conditional, I would hug him. So the conditional is going to be abrazar plus the conditional tense endings, which is abrazaría. So what's the difference between these two statements? If I meet him, I will hug him, versus if I met him, I would hug him. This is kind of what's known as an alternate universe scenario. So this makes it seem likely. So I'm going to Los Angeles or wherever he lives, and I'm going to stand outside of his house. And if I meet him, then I will hug him, right? This is like you have some type of understanding that this is a plausible or possible scenario. This is more like if the world were different, this is what would happen. So if I met him, which is not likely, I would do this, which is not likely, right? So this is likely and this is not likely. And the clauses can be completely switched around. So I could say, lo abrazaré si conozco a Channing Tatum. I will hug him if I meet Channing Tatum. Or lo abrazaría si conociera a Channing Tatum. I would hug him if I met him. I can completely change these two clauses. The thing that I can't change is the si always has to go with the present tense. The si can never go with the future. And the si always has to go with the past subjunctive. The si can never go with the conditional. But I can switch the entire clauses around if I want to. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to be talking about conditional sentences. There's three types of conditional sentences. You're actually going to learn type 1 and 2 at a later date. Right now we're learning type 3, which is out of order. Sorry, that's just how it's going. Okay, so C plus past perfect subjunctive plus conditional perfect. Conditional perfect is what we just learned. So we have to remember how to form the past perfect subjunctive. Remember that perfect is always haber. So the past subjunctive of haber, hubiera. Looks like ghost writing. I don't know why. Hubieras, hubiera, hubiéramos con acento, and then hubieran. And remember, because it's haber, it's always followed by the past participle, which is normally ado or ido. The other part of your sentence is going to be the conditional perfect. So remember, we just did that. The conditional of haber is habría, habrías, habría, habríamos, and abri. That looks crazy. Sorry. And abrion, and again, it's followed by auto or ito, which is the past participle, unless the past participle is irregular, obviously. Okay, so when we would use this is to say if this thing had happened, because remember the past perfect means had. This other thing would have happened, which would be the conditional perfect. So, for example, if I had studied, I would have gotten a good grade. It's all going to start with C because that's how you say if without an accent. So, si yo, and then we're going to have the past perfect subjunctive, hubiera estudiado. I would have, which would be conditional perfect, I don't know what happened there. Okay, yo habría sacado una buena nota. So we have past perfect subjunctive followed by past participle, and then conditional perfect followed by past participle. If I had studied, I would have gotten a good grade. You could also put this in the opposite order. So I could have my conditional perfect first and then my past perfect subjunctive. For example, you would have received a trophy if you had gone to conferencia. So would have is conditional perfect to habrías recibido un trofeo. And now we have our if. If you had gone past subjunctive or past perfect subjunctive, si hubieras, and the past participle of ir would be ido, a conferencia. You would have gotten a trophy if you had gone to conferencia. So again, it's C plus past perfect subjunctive plus conditional perfect, but I can also do it the other way and do conditional perfect plus C plus past subjunctive or past perfect subjunctive. Let me know if you have any questions.